Welcome to TAA Conversations on Art and Peace. I'm Sam Lohman, president of the Art Association, a Swiss nonprofit dedicated to encouraging peaceful engagement through art in all its forms. Our guest today is Malon E.D. James, executive director of the H&D Institute, whose work brings together hydroponics, food security, creativity, art, and peace in a way that is accessible and meaningful, rooted in shared human needs across cultures and borders. Malon approaches the hydroponics not simply as a method of growing food, but as a human-centered system that must be understood, trusted, and embraced in order to succeed. His work reflects a simple truth. When people are nourished, communities are stronger, and the conditions for peace are more likely to emerge. Malon has been recognized by the U.S. Department of Agriculture for the impact of his work in hydroponics, and is recognized as the youngest certified hydroponic farmer in his region. Central to Malon's work is a recognition that technology alone is not enough. In his vision, art and artists play an essential role in helping people understand, engage with, and ultimately trust the systems that support food security and peace. For the Art Association, this conversation reflects that peace is shaped not only by diplomacy, policy, or brute strength, but also by how the hydroponic message is communicated and the important role that art and artists play in the process. Food security, creativity, art, and peaceful engagement are deeply connected, and Malon's work brings this connection into clear focus. Malon, it's a pleasure to welcome you to TAA Conversations on Art and Peace.
I am glad to be here. I'm thankful that you welcomed me here, and that was a great introduction. I'm just USA's youngest certified hydroponic farmer. I would just like to add that. But thank you, really. It's an honor.
Explain hydroponics and why it matters beyond the technical process.
Put it lightly, I think it's art. There's multiple types of artists in the world. It's just if you're really good at something, really proficient, I think you can make anything art. And hydroponics, it has art in multiple ways, in the sense that it can help people with food insecurities, bring everybody together, show examples. Really, if you want art, you need to have material. And hydroponics, it has material beyond just a simple view of just farming. Farming, you think, oh, well, I'm just gonna get food from this. There's no reason to connect over it. But hydroponics is so easy. It's basically a social sport now. Gather with your friends, family.
And how can hydroponics strengthen food security in vulnerable communities?
Well, vulnerable communities like, let's say, Liberia, a low to middle income country, they have monsoons constantly. And your main example of farm is outside 5,000 acres, dirt, pesticides, worms, everywhere. That's your average example of farm. And hydroponics, it doesn't revolve around being outside. Vulnerable communities don't have 5,000 acres. They don't have pesticides. They don't have all these things readily available to them, especially in places where monsoons are a active, always happening occurrence, washing away all your crops, all your vehicles, everything else. And with hydroponics being inside, it's convenient, it's safe, and you will finally know where your food is coming from.
How can art, visual storytelling, and design help more people understand and support hydroponics?
There's a lot of ways I can name off the top of my head, but to give an example, there's Nobel. Nobel, he made the Nobel Peace Prize, and he had his friend named Bertha, his best friend. She loved him, he loved her back, but she married another. Nobel, he was an arms dealer. He made guns without gunpowder. He made dynamite and a wide array of other weapons. Bertha made a book about no wars whatsoever. And that actually influenced him to just make the Nobel Peace Prize. I personally have gotten the Regis Groth Youth Award, so not quite there yet, but that is the main principle. With peace, you could be anything. But as long as you're exposed to the right amount of peace, art, you can really resonate. You can sympathize with art.
brilliant example of how art can encourage peaceful engagement, and very topical for that matter in regards to the Nobel Peace Prize. And congratulations on the award that you received as well, Malon.
Thank you.
Do you believe that art, especially as it supports hydroponics and food security, can further inner community and global peace?
Yes, I envision a world where there's hydroponics implemented into architect builds, engineers, buildings, development projects, and art is right there with it. Hydroponics is an art, painting is an art. As I said, most things, if not anything, can be an art. So to answer your question, to put it simply, we can merge our efforts by having projects, development projects, working spaces, and helping those vulnerable communities that you gave as an example not too long ago.
What message do you have for TAA's International Community of Artists for Peace?
Peace can't take root without art. Art is everywhere. Art, you have art, I have art. So looking forward, looking past this, I think really and truly, if you want art, you have to hope for it. You have to hope for peace, you have to hope for art, and you have to strive for it. You really have to try.
Malon, what stands out in your work is a deep sense of care and understanding that food, art, creativity, and communication are not separate concerns, but part of the same human system. You remind us that when people feel seen, nourished, and included, communities become more resilient and peace becomes more possible. By bringing together hydroponics and art, science and storytelling, you have illustrated how innovation can be guided by empathy and how solutions can be shaped not only to function, but to connect. This way of thinking speaks powerfully to an international audience facing shared challenges across cultures and geographies. On behalf of the Art Association and our global community of artists for peace, thank you for the recognition of the role of art and artists in your noble journey. We look forward to seeing your vision grow, exceed expectations, inspire others to build hydroponic systems that sustain life, food security, and peace throughout the world. And we are grateful that you see the role of art and artists in the process.
I wouldn't be here without you all.
That's a take. Thank you, man.
Anytime.